Hey guys, and welcome to another WFM Tipsy Thursdays. I am your host, Anita Dei, the Contact Center Whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. We are a workforce management consulting firm that focuses on helping organizations take their CX and EX goals and align them to the WFM discipline, because we firmly believe that you can have culture efficiently. So today we are talking about workforce management and its impacts on employee experience. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite topics. And so I'm super excited to have the amazing Matt with us today. Matt is going to be talking with us about WFM, workforce management, and the impacts on employee experience. But before we hop in, Matt, okay, y'all calm down. Before we hop in, Matt, okay, first introduce yourself and tell the people when you first discovered or fell in love with workforce management.
Sure. First, thanks for having me. Amazing content, amazing business. Just really excited to be here and have this time. Definitely a different experience for me doing more live video, but I love this idea of it. Yeah, I really quickly I kind of fell in love with it after I really figured out what it was. I think as I've had conversations with people over the years, I fall in the same category. I kind of just fell into WFM in the contact center space. I graduated college, had an accounting background, so already a nerd with numbers and analytics. And I started a job at United Healthcare back in 2005. And as I learned more about the role, and I learned more about WFM, right, and how it pertains to business and contact centers and the numbers behind and the basically the numbers and the voices, right? When they answer the phone calls, who are they and how do they get there? How do we plan for that? And I learned organically. I was given basically a book that was like this thick
Yeah.
and a laptop and said, "Hey, go figure it out." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And we just jumped right in. And as I learned more about kind of how it pertained to the business and the leverage we had over and the responsibility we had over people's lives, essentially, right? Just it made more sense about the impact the WFN department had on the business overall. So I really I mean, the numbers and the planning and the day to day just never being the same was something that I thrive in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let's hop right into the topic for today. WFM and its impacts on employee experience. Give me one myth or common mistake that people have when associating workforce management or not associating it with the employee experience. What are one of those common myths that you see or mistakes?
I I've got a couple, but I think we come across, I think, just based on the level of impact we have right on schedules on the day-to-day lives, that we can somewhat be uncaring.
Mm,
We all we care about is the numbers, right? I think what I've tried to establish in my career is being more of a face, right? Not just we're the WFN department. We sit in this fishbowl, or we're out telling people, "Hey, you're an ACW for too long," or "Hey, you've been on break for 22 minutes. We got calls holding," that type of stuff. I think that's one of the things I think that we really tried to battle was the perception of what it is WFM does
yeah.
and why we're here and how we help impact your work life balance. I mean, I think taking that understanding, as I alluded to in the beginning of this, was we have a lot of that impact, right? We have the scheduling, the breaks, the lunches, the learning breaks they have and things of that nature, and really trying to instill some of that creativity into, hey, we're gonna have a culture of creativity, we have a culture of not saying no, and
Mm,
finding ways to help support the frontline staff. It was either by doing roundtables and helping them understand who we are and what we do and why we're here. We're not here to tell you that you've been on break for 27 minutes. We need you back on the phone, right? Or, we're doing this to punish you. We're doing it because we have a business to run. I think people crave accountability. I mean, just from the experience I've had. But I think really it's that myth to me is that we're uncaring. We're just a back office department that's there to make your life miserable.
yeah. So, what would then be a tip or a strategy with your experience being in workforce management and working in organizations like your United Healthcares? What is one of the tips or strategies that you could leave with someone who's maybe new in their career to workforce management, or organizations that are like, we really want to focus on employee experience and we want to do so efficiently and effectiveness with effectiveness? What would be one of those tips or strategies you would have for them?
I'd probably go with two, right? I think the first one is if you're kind of newer to that environment, be be curious, learn all you can about behind the scenes. How does this system work? How does that one work? And what impact does it have on your scheduling, on your optimization? Um, and then the second thing I think I would say is be sure to bring WFM to the table. Utilize us as a partner, as someone that can help better impact your agents on a day-to-day basis. It's always been this. I mean, I kind of go back to another common myth is that it's always us versus them, right? You've got
Mm-hmm.
WFM versus operations. They've got their goals and their things they want to accomplish from a coaching and development. And we're telling you, no, you can't do this because we've got calls holding, or we're telling you to do this because the forecast doesn't allow. I really think by bringing them to the table and having the WFM team and processes and systems that are out there and allowing them to say, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. Here's what we're seeing. Here's a great opportunity to pull people for coaching, or here's a great opportunity to, have them do some shadowing and some career opportunity, just different development type things. It's going to help them coach and bring the best from their employees. I mean, you talk about schedule alignment, right? I mean, coach them to when you do a shift bid, if it's metric based, how do you motivate them from a metric perspective to get to where they need to be, right? So they can get a better shift. I mean, I've seen this so many times, and we could probably spend hours. I know we don't have that kind of time, but I just, my biggest thing is always bringing WFM to the table. There's so much knowledge and I think care that we bring to an operation that's going to impact your team's ability to be happier in their roles and their current jobs.
Yeah, when you think about like our ethos and what one of the things that we really believe here at Solid Rock is a personal belief of a belief of mine is that you can have culture and you can have it effectively, like and efficiently. You can have both. And so I think in back to the one of the points that you were making earlier about one of the myths is that workforce management is a lot of times seen as that department that sits off and is playing an evil game of how many no's can I give, and that's not the
Right.
case.
Right.
However, if workforce management is not brought to the table, or um, uh, if they are not intentional, thank you. If they are not intentional about um, making sure that they are building those relationships with the
Mm-hmm.
operations team and they're showing up to say, how can we do this? I used to have a saying at United Healthcare, so I was there as well. And how can we say yes? Not how can we
Mm-hmm.
say no, but how can we say
Right.
yes? Figure out how we can say yes, because our goal is to be a good partner. And so I love,
Right.
love, love
Yeah.
the tips that you shared around figuring out like schedule alignment. How do we, if you're going to be doing shift bids and it's performance based, how do we make sure that we are motivating, not only motivating, but equipping and empowering agents or employees across the board, because sometimes it's not just agents, it might be back office folks, but how are we empowering them to make sure that they are capable and they have the skill to hit the performance in the first place
Right.
so that they can be enabled to have those types of shifts. I think those are types of things when we're thinking about workforce management and its impacts on employee experience. You nailed it, Matt. Like so good. And I'm such an advocate for talking about those things. So chef's kiss on that. What is another nugget that you would like to share, or something that I may not have asked you that you would like to share with the audience today?
I think I really would just reinforce the idea of bringing WFM to the table. I mean, I've been in so many roles where it was supported and it was welcomed, but there was this stigma around what it is that we do, right? Again, just go back to I use the word control because we do. I mean, you got to align shifts, you got to run a business, you have to make sure that you've got the right people in the right place at the right time. That's the whole ethos of what WFM is, right? But I think I would just go back to reiterating the two things I mentioned was bringing them to the table and having WFM help you optimize your business. Because I really do think, just as I've seen in the last couple of roles, people crave accountability and they want that structure in place, although they may rebel against it in some way, shape, or form. But I really think that having WFM have a pulse on the business and what your utilization is, what your optimization is running, looking at to the bigger factors, right? Your availability and occupancy that's going to inform your forecast. That's really going to be things you can keep an eye on to help drive the business and keep your employees happy. I mean, I've seen it time and time again where, hey, so and so came to me and said, I feel like I'm doing all the work. How can you help me? Right. I mean, my first response back to them is, have you talked to your manager? Right. Have you explained this? Have you, brought that to them? But again, to me, I think those are the important pieces of just reiterating kind of those previous points about bringing us to the table, humanizing the WFM department to show that we are human. We're going to make mistakes. We're not going to build things that are going to be completely aligned with what you're trying to accomplish. But having that alignment of it's us and not a we versus them.
Yeah.
I think that to me is the mentality. You're going to get a lot more with the age old, adage of you get more bees with honey, right? Or something along those lines. But I think
Yeah.
that to me is just having them at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Where can the people find you if they want to reach out to you, Matt?
Sure. LinkedIn under Matt Armbruster. And then I also have a website for my consulting business under 2211ventures.com.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so, so much for coming to hang out with us today. That was so, so amazing. I absolutely love. Y'all already know how I feel about CX, customer experience, right? I'm always saying if you don't have an employee experience strategy, your CX strategy is trash, which is why when we think about workforce management and being known as the WFM people think that our secret sauce is that we're ninjas in workforce management. And we are good, don't get me wrong, right? But what makes us really unique is our ability to align those CX and EX goals to the WFM discipline, making sure that you have that culture and you have efficiency at the same time. So I love the tips that Matt shared around the myths of workforce management is not here to say no. We're trying to figure out how we can say yes, right? How we can empower and enable the business to meet its goals and also enable culture inside of the organization. I love the tip that Matt shared around figuring out how we ensure that we are empowering, equipping, engaging agents so that they are able to hit the goals, especially with the example he used around shift alignments and shift bids, chef's kiss. Again, amazing. So anyway, I hope that this WFM Tipsy Thursday tip was insightful and helpful to you. You already know what to do. If you have a topic that you would like to cover, shoot me a message. Y'all don't be shy, okay? Until next time, y'all go be great and let's make impact. See y'all soon. Bye.